Top of the morning to you, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you will be watching this session. Welcome to Opinion Poll with Ignited Ayo. And as always, I have the ladies of Opinion Poll with me. And then, coincidentally, we'll be having, it is International Men's Mental Health Awareness Day. Coincidentally, it is also yesterday was Father's Day celebration, and we'll be having conversation around it today. And as you can see, we have a guest co-host with us, the person of Nwas Chukwu Treasure, who will be talking to us about men's mental health today. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, what do you have for us today? What was the package like? What should we be expecting?
Okay. Though I'm surprised you have been hammering on coincidentally.
Yes, na coincidence na.
Okay.
It's coincidence.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not here by coincidence.
Oh, glory be to God.
Let me just say it has been ordained.
Hallelujah.
Yes. The man completes the woman. Right? So where women are, there is need for men to be there.
So we should just conclude that blessed art thou amongst women.
Oh my God.
It has always been your wish to be on this seat.
Anyway, thank God my wish is coming to reality.
Glory.
All right. So, and for the fact that we are talking about, the topic today is centered on men.
Yeah.
So, and there is no how you can only talk about the men from your own perspective.
Yeah,
so if I'm talking as a man.
Glory. So you will be speaking from experience. But then I want you to keep the package.
It's all right.
Keep the package so that by the time we start unveiling it, our audience will be like, wow.
It's all right. It's all right.
So then let me go to Yopi girl. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm fine. I'm here to say something today because yesterday another talent was discovered within me. Like seriously,
Glory
I feel like
God.
God.
Give us gist.
See, don't worry. This thing is something that I always wish for, but in some other area, I always feel like this thing, you can't just do it just like you know how to do it. It takes the Holy Spirit to ginger you in order
Glory.
to do it. And then yesterday, someone just said, Sister Paul, you're going to do this. I was like, for real? But to crown it up, the Lord is good.
Hallelujah. All the time. So one talent unraveled. Well, for me, yesterday was really a stressful one for me. You can tell from my voice. I'm trying to add to speak because I have sore throats. Yesterday was Youth Sunday at my church, and I had activities back to back, anchoring different sessions. Did a whole lot of things. After the service, we had youth fellowship. So many activities all at once. We now prayed. At the end, my voice now disappeared.
Imagine.
So immediately after, I wanted to go and do visitation for Salah. So I wanted to go and greet my dad. My dad told me that, you didn't tell me now. Me have Japa. He has Japa. Like, no, this is so unfortunate. And I had gift for him. So my gift is at home like this.
Wonderful.
So I had to be carrying load from the church back to the house. So one of my church members have been saying, you do not know my house, and we are in the same department. I was like, okay, so what can I do now? So she said, you have to come and know my house today. I said, look, I should come and know your house, no wala. So immediately we were done with service. I just went straight to her house. God. I ate, you know that when they say rice, elemimeji, rice with 7 life.
In this Tinubu region.
Boneless turkey.
This one is
rice, elemimeji, fried rice with 7 life.
Jesus.
You know, the turkey is boneless. I was like, are you sure you are in this Nigeria like this? She said, you know, I'm not, nobody is at home. I'm the only one. And the sister got married a Muslim. So, and she went to do Ileya with her husband's people. So I just went to celebrate Ileya at my church member's place. So that was how I got back home. I could not eat. I was so tired. I slept. And I woke up around, I think, 11. I was not hungry again.
Okay.
So all glory to God. Our youth church, they did welfare. So the welfare package they gave to me, I just went to pack it where I kept it and unraveled.
Around 11 p.m.
I tried now.
Wonderful.
So I unraveled the mystery. So that was how my weekend went. I really wish there's no work today, sincerely.
Imagine.
So I can sleep Because right now, I need to close my eyes. I haven't had a good sleep all through last week. It was stressful for me back to back. So that was it for me. But then, before we go into all that we will be discussing today, let's go on a quick break. And when we get back, we'll dive into the show. Please stay with us. Okay, welcome back to the show. So, like I said, yesterday was Father's Day, and it was really, really, really a wonderful celebration yesterday at my church. The youth wing of the church gave the fathers gifts. The children also came in to distribute gifts, and we were singing, "My daddy, my daddy." I was like, "Oh!" So it is all my eyes. It choked. My eyes, I was choked yesterday. What is all this one? Mothers did their own. Yes, and it was really eventful. We had the fatherly blessing yesterday. Our pastor prayed for us. It was really touching. You hardly get all of those things happening to you all the time. So it was a wonderful celebration yesterday. And I remember to call my dad yesterday. I called him I didn't wish him happy Father's Day because the man, concerned with Father's Day celebration. So I just called him to wish him happy Salah and all of that before he now broke the news to me that he's not at home. I should not come and chop. I should not come and eat Salah meat. So that was it for me. But then I would like to also hear your father. I know Mr. Treasure here is a man, and you are a father, an intending father.
Better.
I don't understand. No. So you're an intending father,
right?
And I don't know how were you able to celebrate your dad yesterday? How were you able to celebrate men around you, and how did you celebrate yourself? So let's come to our guest calls. Over to you.
All right. Thank you. First of all, I will begin with the last thing you mentioned.
Okay, I know you come
celebrating
back to that,
yourself.
Okay.
All right. Before celebrating another, you need to celebrate yourself. In as much as I am an incoming, or should I say, to be father. All right. I was so happy yesterday in church when the celebration was ongoing, knowing fully well that with knowledge I have gathered from my father, from the fathers around me, and the mindset I have of becoming a very good father to the number of children that God will bless me with, I was so happy that at least, even if it is a day that the fathers are being celebrated, it means that our effort, there's a song in our former national anthem, the labors of our heroes. So that the labors of fathers in the home are being acknowledged. Of course, sometimes we see men with gray hair, even looking young, because of this labor. So it was a wonderful one yesterday. The children celebrated the fathers, and it was a wonderful one. In my church, they even bought cake. It was wonderful. All right. So now talking about fathers, it's a good thing, especially for those who know their duty as a father and they are doing it. Talking about my own father, my father is late. May his soul rest in peace. So, but there's something I noticed about him. He was a great man before his demise. He is someone who not just coordinates his family, he coordinates the community. He was somebody of a public service, and I learned from him that even after his death, people still talk about him, talk good about him. I learned from him that it's good as a man, to build a legacy for your family, for your children, so that when you are no longer there, my father died when I was still small.
Oh, wow.
All right. So now, I left my hometown when I was very tender, and I stayed very long before coming back home. So, the first time my first return, it was not difficult for me, locating any place, because once I mention my father's name,
Wow.
all right, people,
Names that open door.
they take me home. Bike would just, it was easy for me. And if my father had been somebody with bad image, it would have been a problem for us while we grew up.
Exactly.
All right, so it is good. I learned that as a father, you may not have all the money,
Yes.
all right, but have a good name for the sake of your children. All right, so that when your children grow up, you don't know who they are going to meet.
Exactly.
All right, it is important we build that name matters. You might have all the money, and some people don't want to associate with you.
Yes.
All right, so I learned that it is good, and I've learned from also experiences of fathers who abandoned
Their
their children. People it's a that is why I said in one of my program here that if you are not ready to make a family, to become a father, don't go into marriage. Don't go into it, because you are not just going to you are not going to suffer the effect. The children you are going to bring to this life will be the one to suffer it. Right? You're going to stress that woman that you are going to, because women have this, they don't want to see their children suffer. All right. So it was a big one yesterday, even though the celebration is still on.
Yeah.
All right. To fathers, those who enjoyed fatherly care, to those who their father jackpot, there were people who didn't know their father.
Yeah.
Some of them, their father died while they were still very tender. I could remember back then when I was small, I used to eat yam and this roasted yam with
palm
oil with my dad. It was an amazing. Then last month, he used to give me palm wine. So he was a chief. So people bring these things to him, all those things. So I missed it that day. I missed it. I was like,
so men too used to miss their fathers.
You see, when you build a relationship with your children, they will miss you.
Exactly.
The reason why so many children do things not minding the consequences is because they have nothing to lose. If you say, I will disown you, when you disown them, what did they gain? I don't know if you're getting it.
Yeah.
When you threaten your child that if you do that thing, you see what I will do to you. What do you want to do to them? Because you don't buy him gifts. There is no love, no connection. Sometimes when you break up with a guy, there is this feeling, both of you as you are crying at home. If that guy truly loves you, he will be crying at home too.
Yeah.
Right? Because there is something both of you are missing. That talking for hours, standing on the pole to talk, is no longer there. So you get, so when you don't have anything to miss,
climbing the pole thing,
another level.
Looking for network now. Looking for network, especially when you are using, let me not mention any network name.
Okay.
So it's a good thing that a father have time with the children.
All right.
Sometimes men are not always at home. So but anytime you have to stay with the children, let it count.
Exactly. I really love that. And very quickly, let me go to your girl. I know I may not have met your father, and I know that he recently passed, but within the time that he passed and up until now, I know how much you talk about him physically. I know how much you post him on your status. That one, I know that is the origin of Omo Babayopi that you are bearing today. And I may not have met him in person, but the way you talk about him shows how much that you were so close. So how did you feel yesterday? How was it for you that everybody was celebrating Father's Day, and what was the experience like for you yesterday?
To be sincere, that yesterday I was so heartbroken. Because last year I celebrated him, and this year now he's no more. I was so heartbroken. So I just feel like such is life. Thank God that we are still alive. But I took my time in order to post on my status yesterday in order to wish my husband to be and the father of my upcoming twin happy Father's Day.
Upcoming twins.
Upcoming twins.
She's already
And to all
prophesying.
responsible father in the house. That is what I did yesterday. So there is nothing special because my father is late. So I'm so heartbroken. right now.
Oh, sorry about that. Please don't cry, please.
No.
Do you need
Don't
donkey?
don't cry, please. I beg you in God's name.
All
You
right.
know, for me, Father's Day celebration has not been a thing for me.
Hmm.
It's not a thing for me because it is when I grew up that I began to hear about Father's Day. And Father's Day, even though my father is still very much alive, there's no connection.
Hmm.
But yesterday, I tried to recall memories that we have. And while preparing for this program, it is just coming to me that I'm just speaking to myself that I am becoming ungrateful.
Hmm.
That in as much as there is really no connection between me and my dad,
Or you have somebody to call a
I have
father.
somebody to call a father,
Hmm.
and there are still instances where he was there. And I remembered while I was growing up, then we were still very young, and whenever I usually take first position in primary school.
Oh.
So when I take first position like that, his friends, I can still remember vividly in my head. We were living in Agungi then in Lagos State. There's a spot where himself and his friends used to sit. I would go to them, show them my results. I'm always excited. Look at my results. I took first position even though it was red pen. I had a friend then, Ibrahim, who would always take first position blue pen. He scores 98%. Me, sometimes I score 96 points. So I always take first position with red pen. I would tell him then 5 naira, 10 naira was a thing. Then, as of 2005, 2006, those money were a thing then. So his friends would give me 5 naira, 10 naira. You scored first position. Even himself, my daughter scored first position. Then, so I
She'll be proud of you.
Yeah, he was super proud of me then. So I recall those memories. And that was part of the memory I could remember. And I could remember so well that the only time my father slapped me was when I was doing Ìyá mi kò lè bẹ́, bàbá mi kò lè bẹ́, èmi nìkan mo lè bẹ́, bẹ́ lọ́mọdé, bẹ́. I shall bẹ́ and bẹ́ on a nail.
Hey.
You know, I jumped up and landed
Again.
on a nail. And you know, the nail poked me deep into my leg and they took me home, and I was just screaming. And I could remember my dad said, let's put the red oil thing, the culture, the local remedies to it. They put a knife. The knife was so red hot. They put oil on it. My dad wants to put the hot oil in my leg, and everybody that held me, I became a lioness that day. Everyone who held me, I bite them, bite this one, bite that one. I was like, what is wrong with you? And when it was becoming really unbearable for those people holding, because I was always biting them. My dad just gave me a resounding slap.
And your memory was formatted.
My memory
It
resets. It went back to factory settings. Like the factory setting was not coming from a place of, because I was just hearing
strange sound.
And in my head, I'm like, I'm not even feeling the pain. I'm like, this is the first time my dad will slap me. It was it was the first time that I can recall that my dad would slap me.
That was actually a good one.
I was like, so my dad can slap me. I was crying up to the pain, but because he was slapping me. And at that point, I didn't even know when they put the horse oil and left me there. I was just crying. You know, in the long run, I just went to buy me suya, and you two don't be doing like that next time and all of that. So I remember that experience. And, you know, even though I was way younger then, it was still very fresh. And there was a long separation between myself and my dad. And, you know, those times of loneliness, those times that I needed him, you know, those when I needed him to truly be a father figure in my life, it was not there. At the same time, I remember that while I was growing up, at some point when I was in dear need, he came through. So those things were just coming to me, that you cannot entirely say that you were distanced from your father. Even in the distance, at some point, he still came. He played his role to the best of his ability. And you know, I just want to use this medium to as well wish my father a happy Father's Day, even though I don't have the nerve to talk to him to say Happy Father's Day. My dad will just be like, what's this one saying? And it doesn't move him. And it brings me to thank God we have you as our guest co-host.
Okay.
To direct the question to you so we can see it from a man's perspective. Like me, I have never in my life hugged my father. And I can see traces like that in some homes. You have children that, regardless of how you play with your father will never hug you. He will never hug, except for if you have a level of freedom with them that you can see that this is a normal thing in your home. You see your father hug your. So me today, as old as I am, my father has never hugged me. And there's a way that has an after effect on the children, but I don't want to go to that. But there are certain emotions that we don't see our fathers expressing in the home, and we want to hear from a man's perspective. Why do you think it is so that you hear that men don't share their emotions, men don't cry, men don't this, men don't that? And because it is International Men's Mental Health Awareness Day, so we would like to hear from your own perspective. Why do you think it is so, and how can we break that norms?
Okay. Firstly, I would like to say that it is not a norm.
Okay.
All right. I will take it from the angle of hugging, not hugging. Sometimes this thing it has to do with individual. It is an individual thing. You see, everything that manifests that happens is a product of mind. Okay, the orientations we have determines what we do. All right. So there are men who do that. All right. Sometimes there are men who 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 will kiss their children on the forehead, play with their children. It's an individual. That is why it depends on how your level of exposure. It depends on an individual's level of understanding exposure. There are people who are flexible, like me now. I don't think all those things are things I love doing. I would like to do with my kids and all that. Okay, now talking about and it's another way of bonding. When you hug your children, play with them, kiss them on the forehead, your daughter play with her hair, stuff like that. It enhances bonding. That is what most parents do not understand. Now, talking about the crying aspect. All right, you see, everyone cries. All right.
But men's own
Men don't
men's
cry.
own
Men don't
is
cry.
quite different.
Okay.
Me, before you I grew up with men. I grew up in a men's environment because I don't have siblings, female siblings. Most of my
For real?
siblings, yes, most of my siblings are male. Even my cousins. So the only female cousin I have are those ones that are way younger.
Okay.
So I grew up with men, and the only time that you see that, especially speaking for my brother, the only time you see him crying is when it is so bad. When the situation has eaten him so deep, that's when you see him crying. And my brother, he will, if you catch him crying, he will quickly come out of it and just act up and leave. He's going through something. I know he's experiencing something. What's happening? Talk to me. Let's talk. We are siblings. You cannot hide from me. He will just act up. Bagbe Jare, forget it. Nothing is wrong. He will just act up and forget it. And you see that by the time the situation has eaten him so deep up to here, and he's unable to take it again, he will just break down. And the after effect is not always as when he would have talked about. He would have expressed himself. But then I think that crying aspect, it's men don't cry. It's coming from a place of culture. You see, our boys, would they tell them, stop crying like a girl. When you see a boy that is soft, why are you acting like a girl? When you see a boy that is gentle, expressing himself, telling his mind, you see our parents especially say, why are you acting like a girl? Why are you soft like a girl? Why are you talking like a girl? So that has built a mindset in the heart of our boys. And they grow up with that mindset that men don't do this. They grow up with a stereotyped mindset that this is what men should do and this is what men should not do. So I want you to break that down so we can get it.
It's okay. In as much as it seems to be like a stereotype, like you mentioned, traditionally, I want to say also again that it has to do with individual. We still see men that cry. All right. Then I want to say that the number one reason why men find it difficult to cry out, actually men cry. The only thing is that women cry out.
Yeah.
but men cry inside. All right, and the inner crying is more deadly. It's more deadly. It's more. It kills more. All right. When women cry out, they easily get people to hold them, to come, to talk to them, to hold them. But a man will be crying, is draining inside. You wouldn't know. All right. Now, crying is a normal thing. All right. It's a way of expressing emotion. Okay, and it is not abnormal at all. Okay, but first of all, the primary reason why men find it difficult to cry is because one, women has higher hormones that project tears. Right, women tend to have scientifically now, women has higher hormone that produces tears. That is why it seems as if women cry oftenly. A man eye can be very red and he will still hold himself, but a little, emotion, there will be an outburst from women.
That's not me. That's me. I don't cry in public.
All right,
I don't cry in public.
All right, now and sometimes we see that just like you talked about the stereotype of mindset that when you cry, men who try to cry are considered weak men. All right, and I would like to state here clearly that crying does not entail weakness. All right, now sometimes you see cases when I could remember when I lost my mom. All right, I like, even though when people were around me, I couldn't cry, but I cried when I was when I was alone. Because
you could have just show it and let people see that you are feeling pain, so that they can know how to comment, so that they can know how to comfort.
Like, see, the thing is that there's this shyness that comes with. How do you it just like crying. It just like I want to relate it to anger. Outburst, anger manifestation. There are people who can who are angry, they are still able to hold themselves. There are people that they can, when they gather it, they burst it. They can. That is how women are in nature. Men, there's this, you want to, how you want to do my mouth, how you want me people they see you when you cry. This mindset and the notion from parents while we are growing up, why are you crying, like as if you're a girl. As if girls are meant to cry. So it begins from childhood. From our parents. So it's not as if this stereotype is a norm. All right, there is no basic, there is no backup for it. All right, but based on why we are growing, the thing has been. So men growing up find it difficult to express their emotion through crying. We cry. You see a man eyes very ready. Sometimes you see them maintain silence.
So when we see a man, okay, continue with you are trying to list out some of the things that they do, maintaining silence. So I'll come with my question.
Sometimes you see them, they don't want to talk to anyone. Right? You see them, you can feel it. When the man is full, in the eyes, you can see it. You will see the tears, just that he's not shouting.
Go drop.
So that was what happened to me actually when I lost my mom. Like, because she's someone that she loves me and I love her so much. There's that connection. So when she died,
so like this, you are not fan.
Just take it.
I'm not fan. So and you could see, like, my lady came around, and it was, let me just say, when she was around that I was able to cry. I cried in her presence, but in the presence of my guys, how I want to do.
You just have to man up like.
So that is that.
Oh God!
But women don't mind. You can hear.
We can't hide it.
That's the real thing.
We can't just hide the secret.
Now in a situation, there is another importance to that. For example, now you are married and there's something happened. Now it's both painful and the woman is crying and the man is crying. Who consoles who?
Another level.
No, we cry on each other's neck.
Who consoles who? So
and when we are
on each other's neck. Sorry now. The man is doing babe. Sorry now. The one is babe. You too.
Yes, let's cry together. And
so somebody needs to be emotionally have a hold on his emotion enough to be able to hold on somebody,
Okay.
to hold someone else.
All right.
Right.
Let me go to your P girl. From your own perspective, why do you think men don't cry? Because me like this, something is entering my head, and part of it is what you mentioned, like so they'll now be looking at my mouth, agbalagba, elderly person, grown up man like you, you're crying, and it will always come back. Now you a baby, so I want to hear your own perspective. Why people say why men don't cry?
Why men don't cry of a thing. In some culture, they consider it as a taboo. That it is not right for a man to cry in public as a taboo. And another thing is, many people believe that men have to be to be strong in any situation that they find themselves. So this stigma is something that used to drive men to be strong. That they made them feel like it's not okay to
be strong. I have
cry.
To be strong.
And in this kind of situation, it is natural thing for you to cry. And they used to say something. They used to say that real men don't cry, and it takes a real man also to do what? To cry as well. You're about to say something. And when we say ako in Yoruba, is like a male or man, right? So so from that perspective, just like the way they train us up as a man, that you don't need to feel like you are not strong enough. When you are crying in the presence of those people that are surrounding, they feel like you are not strong. They feel like you are weak. You are not you are insecure self, that you don't know what you are doing. They want you to be strong, bold as a man, for you to man up. So this thing of the culture,
that man up.
this thing
that
of
man
the
up, we'll come to
culture,
it.
I came across something the other time when I was trying to make my research. The person was like, they say men don't cry, men don't cry. But in the Bible, they say Jesus wept.
Abi?
And Jesus
It's
is the
Jesus
man
that
wept.
is the
For
that
Jesus
is
to
supposed to
wept.
be our example.
So
is
why
crying.
is it that men don't
What
cry?
if you people want to liken or bring Jesus wept into this matter?
Eh?
Can any of us bear what he bared? Now, what
No.
was
He has laid the example.
what was the situation?
He went through more terrible situation
Okay.
than we would have gone through.
Now,
and he could cry for a more terrible situation. How
Yes.
much more situations that are not up to that?
now let me tell you something. Now, the simplest issue here now is sometimes when do you know that ladies cry? Okay, let us assume there is a breakup between a guy and a lady, and the lady is somewhere. It's easy for the lady to be crying at
But
home.
the
But
guy will
it's
be
very
doing-
difficult. Now, when you see it, it's understandable when a lady is crying as a result of
It
breakup
is
or
normal.
heartbreak.
It is normal for a lady to cry.
cry,
It's
yes,
not normal
yes.
for a guy
It's not normal for a guy to
to
cry.
All
Voila.
right. So now, but just imagine you come across a guy and he's crying.
Okay,
You're not like, oh boy,
now.
say my babe left me.
Are you crying?
in this life,
You don't chop vegetable.
You know,
That's the first
so
question.
they will be like,
ask.
what is wrong with this one? Who consoles you in that kind of situation? But it's easy for you to console your fellow babe and say, sorry, I can understand. But how do you relate hearing a man saying, I am
Because of
crying,
breakup.
and you are crying out loud? That
I know someone like that though. I used to have a big brother that a lady broke up with, as in is of age, is of marriageable age.
Okay.
And and he has health challenges.
Okay.
He has speech defect. He doesn't speak so clear.
Okay.
The guy is good, studied accounting, brilliant, has a job, has his own company he's running, even though he's still just starting up, but because of that defect, whenever he goes to any woman he wants to marry, they ask the woman accept him, but the family will not accept him because of his speech defect. So when one of the ladies left him, he came to me and said, I was at his place because I used to work for his mom. So I was at his place and he was crying. And in my head, I'm like, so men so used to
So you
Yeah,
even
so
say
they say
that.
men don't
men
cry
used to
now.
No, because of that stereotype that our parents has taught us that
That men
you
don't
are a
cry.
man.
Yes.
You must
Come
not
on,
cry.
man
When you
up.
are doing
That's why I
something,
said
they
I'm
will
going to
tell
come
you,
back
why
to
you do
that
something
man up
like a lady?
word.
Now, they
I have a friend as well that he said he will break up with any lady that ever tells him to man up. Allow me to express my emotions. Because he said he has man up to the point that he almost committed suicide. So why should I keep manning up to the point that I will kill myself? So I will better express my emotion
thing
than
there-
to man up.
the thing there is that expressing when expressing your emotion via crying, you are not communicating. You are just expressing how pain you are. You know, when you talk about expressing your emotion to people around, you are telling them about the situation. All right, that is the only when. That is when, like you talk about somebody said he was manning up to the extent of trying to commit suicide. All right, you don't manning up is not by not crying. Right, sometimes we cry psychologically. We cry inside, like I said earlier.
But that
But that
inside is not good.
Because
Because
No.
in some
that's
cases,
it.
when you're around,
Now,
maybe
now,
someone.
now, sometimes when ladies cry, they cry and create scene.
What do you mean by that?
They cry and
But do you
gather
know
people
that
around them.
ladies,
And
when they
sometimes
cry, they get help?
not
But
all the
it's
people
okay for
that
you
come
to
around
cry.
when you cry, not all the people that come around you when you are crying fosters or has any help to render
render.
to you. Right? There are people that will see cajole you
They will
after
even make
seeing
jest
you.
of you.
That is the thing. Right? So we look at the situation. What we Sheku is this crying? Is it the next thing to do? Or what the way out? We are more concerned about way out of and just God.
In some cases, you cry.
You are crying, you are not communicating.
Don't say that.
I know. Hello. When you are crying, you are not communicating.
Sometimes when you are crying, it's just to ease the pains now.
You are necessarily not looking for a solution. For me, crying is a way of communicating that this thing, I can't. I'm trying to see, okay, I've seen it. You release, okay, research have established that crying releases oxytocin. That's the word I've been looking for since morning. Oxytocin and endogenous opiates. Opiates, also known as endorphins. This feel-good chemical help ease both physical and emotional pain. So you release these chemicals when you cry.
Okay.
You see that after crying, you feel lighting
You
up.
feel free, like your mind will
So
be
that's
free.
why I said when women cry, I'm not saying that men should start crying on the street, and even
can
if you start
cry
crying on this, even as a woman, you start crying on the street. People will just imagine I went to the bus stop now, normal.
Okay.
But then when you cry, even if it is indoor to a close pal. Now, the part I want you to speak on is that men should learn to cry to a loved one. Let a loved one know what you are going. You may not be crying for everybody to see. Even as a female, I don't cry. I don't know how to cry in public.
Okay.
I don't know how to. Just imagine I'm in front of camera like this and I start crying. In fact, there was a time I went to Mount Zion School of Christian Drama in Ile-Ife then, and I was to act a crying scene. They give me onions and no gree cry. But the same thing, the same role I was playing, it was similar to an experience I was having. But in my closet, I cry. When I'm talking to a very close person, someone I can trust, someone I trust, before I will open my mouth and start sharing the deep part of me, it means that I trust you.
Okay.
So when I'm sharing it to somebody I trust, I'm already crying. So now what I want you to speak on is that men should learn to cry. Table their burden onto before a loved one. Let your loved one see that this is what you are going through, instead of keeping silent, instead of hiding it,
Okay.
instead of not showing it. Your eye is so full, but tears is not coming out.
Okay.
So that
Okay. I made mention of something. I don't know. Now we have 3 cups before us, right? I made mention of women having higher hormone that produces tears. Now we have 3 cups before us. You can see the length of yours and the length of the one before me is not the same.
Yes.
Now, when a container fulls, when you fill a container, when you're pouring water in a container, once you get full, the water starts dropping. So now it depends on the volume of your container that determines when the water starts falling. When it comes to crying, women's container seems to be very small. It a quick full. Una container, they quick
your
full.
own they expand.
All right. So now
Your own elastic container.
now the thing is that, like, I used myself as a case study that when I lost my mom, I cried, at the shoulder of my lady when she visited. All right, and she consoled me. All right. Now, just like in relation to
A
what
round
you
of
said-
applause for that woman, Jerry. That's the word. When you cry before a loved one, you receive comfort.
Now,
You
that,
receive consolation.
that is what I'm saying.
So that's where we should come in.
That is why I'm saying that crying should, be let there be reason. Men cry with reason. It's not as if men don't cry.
Wait.
Men
cry with reason.
Yes,
What
when-
of women?
You see,
We cry anyhow.
I
we
don't
are crying
understand.
here. So sometimes you just feel like the only thing to do is just
To
to
cry.
cry.
I would
Women cry, so women find it easy to cry.
This
Even
one.
sometimes when they even commit crime, they
They
use
will still cry.
they use cry to
They are the
cover
one
up.
that are at fault. They
You know,
will still cry.
They cry.
Oh my
Because
God.
especially when they just
But Che, you know
Women
that
are
is okay. See,
special.
let me tackle you on this one.
okay.
Do you know that it's working for us?
How
We cry and get attention.
you
Yes.
cry and
We
cover
cry
up
and
your
get
cover
help.
up
Yes.
crime.
We cry and
You
cover
cry.
up crime.
You cry and cover up crime.
Yes, now.
Eh?
You just imagine that you want to collect money from your man.
Okay.
Like for me, while I'm growing up, I don't go to my mom to collect money because I know my mom is calculative. She will
Okay.
do we need to buy this, we need to buy. I'll go and meet my dad. Dad, me only pay. Then I'll just be doing like that. I'm like, Nisuru, I heard money. My dad will say, calm down. I heard money. I say, hey, money, Abioya, take. He will not even allow me to finish. But my mom, cry your eyes off. Let your high
No
ball
money
come
for
down.
you.
No money for you. So women cry and they get what they want. Women cry, they get the help that they need.
That is
So,
because
now-
it works for you guys.
Because it works.
It does not work like that for
okay,
men.
Now let's take it from this perspective. How can men show their emotions to get help?
Okay.
So let's look at it
It's
from
a
that
good
time,
one. It's
from
a
that
good one.
perspective. That now you are not crying, but how can you tell via your emotion that you need help?
Okay. Now, you see, that is why when it has to do with you being with loved one or children being with their parents, there is need for deep study of your children.
Good.
Right.
Good.
Now, for example, for my case, now I will always use my lady, for example. From the tone of my voice, she knows when I'm no longer happy. You get? And she knows when I'm emotional. And she, even when I don't want to,
That's natural for women.
all right, when I don't want to relate, she will push.
I
And
think women
I'll-
are quick to observe that.
Men
But
do.
men,
Men
let me
do.
see. Wait, calm
They are
down.
trying to
Allow me
destroy-
Let me be. Wait. Oh, no vex. Keep your
Okay.
thoughts. Hold it like this.
Okay.
Let me use an example. A man calls you, and a woman. A man calls a woman, and the woman. I've picked up the call. He asks, how are you? I'm fine. Oh wow, that's amazing. Now the man they talk with that too.
Okay.
But woman, when the woman says, how are you? And the man says, oh, I'm fine, Jerry. The woman will say, this one that you're saying, I'm
Hope
fine,
nothing
Jerry.
is wrong."
Hope nothing is wrong.
Let me come
A
in.
woman can tell.
Let me come
So
in
continue.
that. You see, in that scenario, that is why I always talk to ladies. Sometimes you can be in a relationship and you are serious. You are committed in a relationship to someone who is not committed to you. All right. When a man cares about you, he cares about your feeling. Now, when the thing is coming from you as a woman and it's not, there is no reciprocation from the man, it means the feeling is not mutual. All right. Now, for me, there are ladies now. You people are Bill Gates. Ladies are like Bill Gates, not the Bill Gates we know.
I don't understand. I know
What
you,
I mean
Bill
by
Gates, I know
big-
is
Yeah,
Bill Gates
just-
is human.
The Bill Gates I mean is the practical aspect of you people build a lot. You feel that once you are close to a man, the man should feel for should respond to your billings.
Not
Now-
all women.
Now,
actually.
not all women. Now, then when a man come across a woman with that
Who
kind of
builds,
mindset,
yeah.
who builds.
I love
So when you say you are not fine, like me now, if I'm chatting you, I call you, and you tell me you are not
I'm not
fine.
fine.
I won't go for that.
go
to
read
ask
You
me.
will not even
Once
ask me
again.
what is going on.
You
As
go
a
read
matter of fact,
message, not
I will,
answer again.
I will
Because
even
your
tell
own-
you, I will
your
even tell
own
you it's
thoughts
normal
is
that
money.
even me, I'm not fine.
Hey,
Seriously.
wow.
What's fine now?
It is good money that brings about how are you. So when you begin to somebody say you are not fine, I say, what did they do?
That is
Money must be involved. so to cut that aspect,
Oh,
just
oh.
don't go into the detail.
Wahala.
All right, but when it is the woman or the person that you have mutual connection with, that person cannot tell you I'm not fine, and you don't bother to ask
What
why
is
are you
going
not
on?
fine. All right, so when we know that is a trap, I will not fall in.
But then, do you know, some people are not. I know this conversation is around why men don't cry.
Okay.
But at the same time, I would also like to say that some men are not sensitive. Everybody, not just for the men now, should be able to read in between the lines.
Sure.
I know when a person is talking, and it gets to a point you just stop talking. I don't know, personally for me, I can read more than your words, I can read more than your silence, I can read more than what you mean. You may be saying something now, I have seen beyond what you are saying. So that is who I am. I'm an observer. So when you are telling me I'm fine, Jerry, or you are not your usual self, for somebody like me, I react to you based on how you react to me. So if you are open to me, I will be open towards you. If I want to get close and I see that you are withholding me from getting close, I will maintain my gaze. I will maintain the attitude you are giving to me. So that does not mean that if you are giving me the I don't care attitude, I will give you I don't care attitude. No, I won't do that. But when you are giving me the I don't care attitude, I will still show that for the love of God is in my heart. Alpha, your face is not the way it used to be. But then you see that some people are just not sensitive. You are hearing, for instance, my friends know me. They know that I can observe to that point. I'm speaking with you on the phone. I know your voice on a normal day when you are happy. I know your voice when something is wrong. I know your voice when you are angry. I know your voice when you need something and you don't want to communicate it. I can perceive it. But then you see that some people are just not sensitive to see that. But then let's take this back to how men can show that they need help.
Okay.
Beyond crying.
Okay.
So we'll
there is
the other part.
We have English language.
Okay.
We have Yoruba language. Then we have what we call body language. All right. Just like you talk about being sensitive. When you are with somebody, situation change our emotion.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So when you are going through a thing, and sometimes why men don't want to share is because they are not certain of the outcome of sharing. There are people you share your problem with. They take time to listen to you. From beginning, they know they are not going to help you, but they will be so ready to listen to all you want to say, and at the end, they will now begin to tell you their own problem. Right? So sometimes we are careful. I, as a person, now I want to use myself as an example. Now, if I, sometimes even rich guys go broke.
Yes. Of course.
Now, a guy that at least a guy can be broke, and that doesn't mean he does not have money. But at that moment, you are in need of that amount. There was a time I needed a certain amount. I needed it that moment, and I was not having it. I have friends that I could call to, but there are people that when you call and tell them you need certain amount, they'll be like,
you chairman.
You get it. So they don't want to believe.
They don't want to believe.
So those people, no matter how kind of they may not have it, and sometimes they even think you are whining them. Meanwhile, you actually need it. You have those kind of people because of your profile. Now, so but they should be friends. There are friends that that they know you and you know them. I say anything will make this guy they ask me, that means he's serious. Right. So when I need certain things, my younger sister happened to stay with me. All right. She's somebody I built a relationship with her that she understands me in as much, because I was using her to learn how to stay with a woman when I get married. She at some point she was full of some funny character. And I was scooping. Seriously, because last month for that matter, when you beat her, the interpretation will be like you are beating your sister because she be gay, because she know get power. So when you but I just thank God that recently she called me, she knelt down and she was like, she's sorry for all the misconduct. So what am I trying to bring out? She knows when I'm not happy. I don't need to cry. From when you are happy, there is an expression on your face. It will show. When you are not happy, it will show. So it is now left for the people around you. Not everybody cares about your emotion.
Yes.
Well, the people around you should be able to know when you are no longer yourself. And boss, what did they happen? Big bro, what did they happen? Like you talked about your big bro. What is happening? You are not yourself. All right. So it is now depends on how that person see you, that will now determine if the person will unveil what is going through with you. So to me, I feel it mustn't be said. We have body language, right? You cannot be happy and showing that you are not happy. You can't fake not being happy, all right? And you can't fake being happy. All right. So when you are not happy, it will show you are not happy. It will show in the way you are working, even at work. If something is eating you up, it will affect your functionality.
Yeah,
all right. So it is not left for your colleagues, your boss, who know how you used to work before, to notice and say, you are not yourself. What is the problem? Then if you feel and find that person worthy enough to share your personal life with, you can now. And in some cases, when they notice that it's going to affect you at work, they can decide to ask you to go home and take care of whatever be the situation. So I believe without talking, people around us
should be
able to read.
And if they are not mind readers, they are finished.
No, this one is not a matter of reading the mind. In as much as you are not talking to anyone, people are seeing it via your action. You are not concentrating. Even they are trying to engage you in discussion, you are not flowing. Your mind is not there.
See, I'm going to come to that. I was at a training over the weekend, and the facilitator was saying that every person, not just for the job, every worker, every individual should be able to know soft skills that is needed for interpersonal relationship with people. You see, there is a place of empathy. There is a place of thoughtfulness. There is a place of common sense. There is a place where your good communication is needed. I don't know. The person was saying all of those things, and you really, really need all of these things. Interpersonal relationship, how to deal with people around you, how to deal with your siblings, your colleagues at work, how to he was saying that everybody needs to learn these things. So because we have to be accountable to each other.
Sure.
We have to watch out for each other. So I think this message goes to everybody that we all must be sensitive.
Sure.
Even as women, sometimes you are not sharing,
Sure.
but you can read in between the words.
Sure.
You can read from their emotion. There are times that you want to speak, but your emotion betrays you. There are times that you see that this person is saying something, and at some point, yesterday a friend of mine called me and she was crying over the phone. Even before she started, I knew she was crying before she called me. And from the voice, I go, babe, what is happening? Then she began to talk and she just broke down. So we must all be sensitive. But then, before we come back to these soft skills, I'm going to throw a question at you, so get ready. So let me go to Yopi Girl. Yopi Girl, as a lady, how do you expect men to share their emotion from a woman's perspective? How do you expect men to share their emotion? For instance, for me, whether you are my brother, you are my colleague, you are my friends, I want you to come from a place of from a neutral ground, that we have a good relationship, even as colleagues, that we are working together, and you can just chip it in. I have had a major problem in my life that it was a colleague that helped me to solve it. A major encounter in my life that most of the encounters I'm enjoying now, it was because I shared it with a colleague and we had a solution to it. So for me, I expect that even though we are colleagues, we are neighbors, as we are sharing emotion from a place of good relationship, that it is from the fact that we have a good relationship that I can come to you. I may not be direct. You can just notice, what's wrong? Are you okay? Sure, all is well. Oh, you're not sounding so well. And that is where we start off from. Not that I don't talk to you, you don't talk to me. We only do good morning, we do good night. And you expect me to come and carry my problem and meet you. God forbid, it not go happen. So from a woman's perspective, I want you to share with us how you expect men to share their emotions.
In some cases, it's better for you to be open up. Like, we have some people that are not sensitive enough to know what you are going through. But if you know that you have someone around you that can be of help when you are going through something, and such a person is not someone that is sensitive enough to know through your character, through your emotion stuff, through your facial expression, it's better for you to open up to the person. And just like you said, actions speak louder than voice in some cases. If you are with the person that have the sense of your action, not everybody can know what you are going through your action, but it is better for someone to know how to open up in some cases. Learn how to communicate to people. That communication is very important. If you know how to communicate in every aspect of your life, it won't be hard for you to express yourself in order to receive help.
I really love that communication. People should learn to talk. You know, at some point, even probably because I grew up in a men's world, at some point it is so difficult
So
for
the
me
word
to
is
talk.
men's word.
Like me, I'm more into it because
Okay.
I have brothers, cousins that are male, you know, and I have a mother who grew up working as the giant in the house, working as a man in the house. So I always see things from the perspective of a
From a
man.
man.
So not you say I'm a last born, but I don't behave like
Aw.
last born. You see, all these things that we say last borns are spoiled. Last born, me, I didn't enjoy because me, this my head. I carry yam.
Beginning from today.
I carry yam, like say I opt yam from one community to the other. So all those last born benefits, me, I no enjoy yam. So I was always doing the work and all of that. So my final question goes to our guest co-host. That is on the fact that men share to get solution. From my little experience with the men in my life, I've noticed that when they are sharing their problem with you, they're saying they want to share their problem with somebody they know they can get solution from. So if I'm telling you about my financial issues, it means you can provide a financial solution to it at that point. But then we all know that financial problem is everybody's problem. Everybody needs money.
Majority carry the vote.
As in finances, majority has carried the votes in Nigeria. So I want you to share with us some other struggles that men go through that it is not quick for people to see. It is not quick for people to tell from a man's perspective.
Okay. I shared my own experience. I talked about being in need and the people I even though I had people that could be of help, they all felt I so it happens to we men. All right, it happens to us a lot. Sometimes that is why friendship or entitlement kind of relationship is very bad. Sometimes you see a big man, he's driving car, but he's broke. And you are making a demand, and it happens at that moment, in as much as he is rich, he has his cars, he has his house, he has company, but at that moment, he does not have money with him. And he's telling you that he's broke, and you are finding it difficult to believe. Right? These are the things that men suffer. We find it difficult. Just imagine a situation where you are a male child, first child, right? They want you to carry all the burden in the family, right? Everybody is just looking up to you, forgetting that you have your own personal bills. Sometimes even when you are married, I was talking with a lady recently. That lady asked me a funny question. He said, "Hope you are not a first male child." I was like, well, I know the angle the question was coming from. So later I was not, while the conversation proceeded, I asked, "Why did you ask?" Say, "When they carry responsibility." So it has affected some marriages. It has affected some marriages that they so get concerned about the responsibility of the home that they don't take care of their own immediate family, or the little they have to share it between their family and their extended family. Right? So it's sometimes men carry so much burden, and people don't want to, just like you're a man, you're in Lagos and your siblings are in the village. They just believe that so long you are in the city, you are making money. All right. So these are the challenges men are going through. Even those guys you see sleeping on that bridge, they have people. My brother, they Lagos. My brother is in Lagos. Sometimes somebody is even bragging, "I have a brother in Lagos." They don't know where you are sleeping. You get it? So we men, too much is expected of us. And it has become a problem. That's why you see young men with white hair. Right? So it has become so much problem that sometimes, and there is a saying that a problem shared is half solved. Now, so it means that sharing a problem, it has to do with what comes, the end product. Is there solution coming from that person? Right? So we don't just want to share problem. Sometimes when you share your problem with the wrong people, it makes you to lose value.
Become an object of ridicule.
So we want to be sure of people who we want to share the problem with. So that is why it's not as if we don't like sharing our problem, but we are very careful because your friend, just imagine one is having a medical issue and you want to share with some people that you don't trust. It's a medical problem. All right, and it's not as if your cycle of friends, there is any medical doctor in their midst. you wouldn't want to share because they will not provide any solution.
Oh.
All right. So, or you are a mix of guys that you are even better than, and you are going through financial. You are not sharing because there is no, you know that in terms of connection, they are not going to help you.
Yeah.
So we should be more concerned. It's not just about men alone. I believe everybody, both male and female, when sharing, it goes to ladies too. Sometimes when you share your problem with a fellow that is not, you will end up regretting it, right? So sharing of a problem has to do with the solution that comes after. So if you know that that person has no capacity to, not
To
all
solve the
problem just
problem.
want, not all problem requires consolation. You go better. Not all problem requires that. So that is the case for
But then they
men.
should still share. So let me go to your girl. What's your final word for men on this table?
From my own perspective, as a man, learn how to communicate with people around you. Mingle with. We have some men that don't even have a relationship with people around them. They don't, some people don't know how to communicate, and this is affecting a lot of people. We should learn how to communicate, learn how to express yourself, learn how to talk when it is right time for you to do what to talk. It's not everything that you need to be not man up over. So we should learn how to express ourselves, learn how to communicate, and say what you are going through. You can find help in any angle. And another thing, like you said, not that you have to be saying everything to everyone that you come across. Make sure you know the person that are sharing the experience that you are going through with. In some cases, once they know what you are going through, that is what they will be using against you.
They will use you
Some
as
some
public
some
no.
will even
instruction.
start avoiding you.
So who you are to tell everything that you are going through in another case.
All right. So, our guest co-host, I would like to hear your final word for men and to commemorate the Father's Day and Mental Health Awareness Day for men.
Okay. To our viewers out there, first of all, I am thanking God that even though I am a to be, but that I'm a father. Now, there is no law that say men shouldn't cry. All right. So if the situation warrants crying to help yourself, cry you, because sometimes you need to cry to attract attention. From that crying, among the people that will come, I watched a video of a man that was in the market crying.
Funny but true.
That he came to the market with 5,000 and he
It's
could not be
funny
able
but
to.
true.
Huh?
It's funny but
All right.
true.
So after that man cried, the people came to his aid. So sometimes when you cry, you attract helper. You never can tell who will be there and say anything that make this man to cry must be
Yeah,
worth
this
it.
is so
Do you
good.
know that when it was really difficult in Nigeria for people to feed a man, he was shaking in the market. He fell down. People rallied around him, bought food for him, said he hasn't eaten for 3 days. They bought food for him. Some good Samaritans contributed money for him and they gave him money and he left. He was crying.
So
He was crying.
crying attracts attention, and when attention comes, you don't know who will be your destiny helper. So when you cry, just like Yopi girl mentioned, communication is at the center of it all. People will, even God said, ask.
Yeah.
All right. In communication, you are expressing yourself. You are giving room for people to come in. All right. Nobody will know what you are going through if you don't speak out.
Yeah.
And when you know that you are in the midst of people, that sometimes you are not what you claim to be. And because you want people to see you as what you are not, you are refusing to communicate. You will die in your problem.
Exactly.
Right? They say a problem shared is half solved. When you know you don't have the capacity and you have people around you, but just because a fake life, and that is another reason why people find it difficult to share.
Yes,
Fake
yes,
life.
yes.
You have made people to believe in a mess you cannot voice out. Right? So if you know or you've seen yourself in that category, you can amend it. Just cry, help me, and people will come to your aid.
Yeah, I really love that. And my final word here is, you see, we have all given a wonderful contribution from the part of Yopi Girl mentioned communication. And I would like to speak to the women, our parents, our mothers, our fathers, the society who are used to saying, man up, be a man. Men don't cry. Men are strong. men must be this, men must be that, giving criteria for the things men should do and what men should not do, we contribute to the reason why our men are committing suicide. Because we are quick to saying men shouldn't do this, men shouldn't do that. Then on the long run, before you know it, our men grow up with this mindset, and before you know it, these men get married, they bear children, and they teach the same thing to their children. You're a man, you have to be strong, you have to be the provider, you are the head. Before you know it, people will begin to stand, I'm the head of this family, just because of what they have learned. We, the women, our mothers, our father, we contribute to why our men are so static, so stiff, that they can't share their emotion. For me, my man, personally for me, must be able to talk to me. You must be able to, let's see things together. We may not be able to agree on the long run, but let's communicate, even in our disagreements, that we come to a place of agreement. And for me, my man is free to cry on my shoulder. Let me be hugging you and be patting you. Sorry, dear,
Let's
Pele
cry
baby.
together,
Let me
get
be
each
doing
other
that. Let
together
me
as
crying.
well.
Pele baby. It will be well. For what I can do, I can do at that point. Countless times I've sent money to my male friends. I don't see anything wrong with it. When I have, I share. When I don't have, they understand, because I have always been there. So I encourage my male friends to cry if it is necessary. I had a conversation with a male friend male friend of mine last month. He was telling me that he was close to depression, and this is a minister, a well-known minister. And we're like, how did he get here? And he was talking to me. We got to talk about it. There was no solution, but in the long run, we were able to arrive at a middle ground. So our mothers, please, let's be careful with the way we say man up. Let's scrap that phrase. It should no longer be in our dictionary, because we want to raise men who will be mentally stable on the long run. So on this segment, this is all that we can take on opinion poll. And I want to use this medium to say happy Idil Adha to one of the ladies of opinion poll, the person of Mrs. Miriam, your very own Ramsey girl. As you can see, she's not on the show, so we're using this medium to wish her a happy Idil Adha, and we want to say that we saw your hand. You saw your hand. You saw her hand.
Her hand is long.
Very long.
I saw the
I
hand.
can't wait to go and get
really
a shovel
enjoyed it
to
too,
you.
like-
You really, I mean, I've not eaten it though. I'm waiting for after
can't
opinion
wait.
poll so that I can sit on
It's
the
your own
floor and
food.
use my hands
It's
to
food
hit
now.
Yeah,
it.
I saw hand.
Okay, it's only
I saw hand.
my own is food and
So thank you so much,
So
Ramsey
good
girl,
to
for
be your
reaching out to
miss.
us. So thank you to our co-host. Thank you for joining us in this segment.
Thank you for hosting me.
You're welcome.
That's
So
always
I would
been
love
your
to be
wish.
part of this
His wish came
show.
to pass. Your wish came to pass.
Yeah, I would love to be more part of this program.
All
Often.
right. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you,
great
ma.
analysis. This is all that we can take before we leave the studio. Please do well to visit our social media platform. Drop in your opinion. As you all know, on this segment, we put our mouth in all the putables. If you have a question that you want us to put our mouth in, do well to send in your question to 090-2205-3305, 090-2205-3305. And you can do well to follow us on Facebook as we are Prime Media TV, on Instagram and TikTok, we are Prime Media Studios. On the website where you're currently watching us, we are enginespeak.com, and you can do well to follow us on YouTube at Enginespeak. I am Ayo. Until I come your way again, to have a great day. Bye.